Thank you for being with us today. Hello, Los Angeles. Or, as Donald Trump now calls it, a war zone. Yes, if you missed the headline, Donald has once again checked out of reality and ordered the National Guard and Marines into our city. To stop what? A protest? A revolution? No. To stop, get this, a lone guy with a sign that says he has a chod. For this, armored vehicles rolled into downtown LA, and there's a tank parked at Whole Foods with "Free the Dairy" scrawled on it. Seriously, Trump saw one protester with a placard and launched an invasion into his own imaginary Afghanistan. Welcome to 2025, where paranoia is funded straight from the federal budget. The cost of this little stunt? $135 million. Think about that. For that money, we could have fixed the subway, built 10 schools, or at least given every homeless person a warm sock and a cup of ramen. But no, Donald decided it's more important to station riflemen in Griffith Park because somewhere on a bench sits a guy with green hair reading Karl Marx and sipping lavender latte. On Fox News, it's all a trailer for Mars Attacks 2, Return of the California Menace. Burning trash cans, masked people running in slow motion, and a breathless anchor declaring, "Los Angeles, it's over." In reality, the whole protest is a girl with a defund gluten sign and a guy selling necklaces made of beer caps. But they showed Trump 3 clips with the volume cranked up, and boom, he's in Commander-in-Chief mode. He rolled out to Fort Bragg, which, according to sources in his head, he's already mentally renamed Fort Trump, and gave a speech worthy of a psychiatric journal. He called Los Angeles America's trash can, said the city is drowning in drugs, sexual anarchy, and electric scooters. Yes, because, as we all know, the enemy of civilization is a guy in shorts listening to Björk and strumming a ukulele. And this, from a man who turned Atlantic City into a post-apocalyptic quest with syringes and broken slot machines. Seriously, Trump's like a Sim who hasn't eaten in too long and starts setting furniture on fire. They showed him a map of the city, a sprawling Los Angeles, bigger than many states, with a tiny circle marking where the demonstration happened. It's like getting a mosquito bite and calling in a surgeon with a chainsaw. But no, Trump decided, if there's a protest, even a tiny one, it calls for a parade, and he's planning a military patriotic march downtown. Yes, like North Korea. He wants tanks rolling down Wilshire Boulevard, planes flying overhead, and himself on the main stage with a giant banner of his 2016 tweet, "Law and Order." This isn't a joke. He even requested a blimp. A blimp, like we're in an alternate Star Wars, where the rebels are baristas with non-traditional manicures. The wildest part? The soldiers he handpicked for public support. The New York Times, Trump's administration personally selected fighters. The criteria, not fat and no opposition views. Basically, a top-model casting call, but with rifles. They're terrified someone in the background might say, "Where am I? What is this nonsense?" And it's understandable. Even the soldiers are asking, "We're in LA? Is this a drill?" And they're told, no, it's a special op against TikTok feminists. All this over one damn sign. One person, one word, and a former president sends in tanks. Is it really that easy to rattle a head of state? What's next? Someone photoshops a mustache on him and he nukes Seattle? If his psyche were dishware, it'd be a 19-cent IKEA Glass V system. I apologize for the incomplete translation earlier. I've carefully reviewed the entire text and ensured that every part is translated accurately into English. Below is the complete, thorough translation of your provided text. I've double-checked to confirm nothing is missed. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being with us today. Hello, Los Angeles, or, as Donald Trump now calls it, a war zone. Yes, if you missed the headline, Donald has once again checked out of reality and ordered the National Guard and Marines into our city. To stop what? A protest? A revolution? No. To stop, get this, a lone guy with a sign that says he has a chod. For this, armored vehicles rolled into downtown LA, and there's a tank parked at Whole Foods with "Free the Dairy" scrawled on it. Seriously, Trump saw one protester with a placard and launched an invasion into his own imaginary Afghanistan. Welcome to 2025, where paranoia is funded straight from the federal budget. The cost of this little stunt? $135 million. Think about that. For that money, we could have fixed the subway, built 10 schools, or at least given every homeless person a warm sock and a cup of ramen. But no, Donald decided it's more important to station riflemen in Griffith Park because somewhere on a bench sits a guy with green hair reading Karl Marx and sipping lavender latte. On Fox News, it's all a trailer for Mars Attacks 2, Return of the California Menace. Burning trash cans, masked people running in slow motion, and a breathless anchor declaring, "Los Angeles, it's over." In reality, the whole protest is a girl with a defund gluten sign and a guy selling necklaces made of beer caps. But they showed Trump 3 clips with the volume cranked up, and boom, he's in Commander-in-Chief mode. He rolled out to Fort Bragg, which, according to sources in his head, he's already mentally renamed Fort Trump, and gave a speech worthy of a psychiatric journal. He called Los Angeles America's trash can, said the city is drowning in drugs, sexual anarchy, and electric scooters. Yes, because, as we all know, the enemy of civilization is a guy in shorts listening to Björk and strumming a ukulele. And this, from a man who turned Atlantic City into a post-apocalyptic quest with syringes and broken slot machines. Seriously, Trump's like a Sim who hasn't eaten in too long and starts setting furniture on fire. They showed him a map of the city. A sprawling Los Angeles, bigger than many states, with a tiny circle marking where the demonstration happened. It's like getting a mosquito bite and calling in a surgeon with a chainsaw. But no, Trump decided, if there's a protest, even a tiny one, it calls for a parade, and he's planning a military patriotic march downtown. Yes, like North Korea. He wants tanks rolling down Wilshire Boulevard, planes flying overhead, and himself on the main stage with a giant banner of his 2016 tweet, "Law and Order." This isn't a joke. He even requested a blimp. A blimp, like we're in an alternate Star Wars where the rebels are baristas with non-traditional manicures. The wildest part? The soldiers he hand-picked for public support. Per the New York Times, Trump's administration personally selected fighters. The criteria? Not fat and no opposition views. Basically, a top-model casting call, but with rifles. They're terrified someone in the background might say, "Where am I? What is this nonsense?" And it's understandable. Even the soldiers are asking, "We're in LA? Is this a drill?" And they're told, no, it's a special op against TikTok feminists. All this over one damn sign. One person, one word, and a former president sends in tanks. Is it really that easy to rattle a head of state? What's next? Someone photoshops a mustache on him, and he nukes Seattle? If his psyche were dishware, it'd be a 19-cent IKEA glass. And let's not forget, while he was inspecting tank readiness, LA was hosting a kids' yoga festival. Yoga. People were in downward dog while a helicopter with a machine gun buzzed overhead. This isn't even satirical exaggeration. It's literally what's happening. Flower shops, food trucks, and people with dogs in sweaters surround a Trump screaming from a podium. We must take back our city. Take it back from whom? The scooter guy? The woman selling vegan candles? He's acting like he's in a bad movie where the hero yells, "They're coming for us," while behind him is just a line at Blue Bottle. It's so absurd it's not even funny. It's a theater of idiocy at the state level. And the scariest part? Half the country thinks he's right. Now, brace yourself. His media choir is joining the circus. Fox News is live, debating how West Coast rioters threaten the nation. Between ads for prostate pills and reports on the shortage of white men on Netflix, they claim LA is sinking into anarchy, though the most that's burning here is LED garland at Starbucks. We continue our parade of lunacy named after Donald Trump, who, it turns out, can't tell a 12-person rally from a coup attempt. Today, he's decided to prove he doesn't just need a break. He needs a straitjacket and padded walls. See, Trump didn't stop at one occupation. No. He said, "Since we've sent the army to LA, let's double down." Like any self-respecting cartoon autocrat, he's planned a military parade. Dead serious. With tanks, anthems, marches, and giant screens endlessly looping his out-of-context tweets layered with patriotic cliches and fake static. His plan? At dawn, armored columns roll down Sunset Boulevard while fighter jets spell out "Trump won California" in smoke over the Hollywood Hills. He doesn't care it's a lie. Just make the font big. He also demanded the parade feature America's Best Choir, the same 8 people who sing at his golf club on weekends and wilt above 77 degrees. The host? Trump himself, naturally. He plans to ride in on a white horse. Let's be real. It'll be a golf cart decked out with airbrushed art of his face on an American eagle's body. All as he loves it. Tacky, pompous, and globally embarrassing. A special stand is being built for honored guests. Who are they? Right now, they're hauling a wax Abraham Lincoln from a museum. Why? Quote, "He'd support me, I feel it." Next to it, a John Wayne mannequin labeled American Spirit and a stool holding a Make LA Great Again cap, all guarded by a guy in a raccoon costume, because clearly, Trump's team is a children's pageant with a budget. While this is being set up, local authorities are in shock. LA's mayor told CNN, "I don't know what's happening. No one called us. We learned about the parade from Twitter." This is peak political absurdity. A megacity mayor finding out about military maneuvers from a post by a guy with no official role. Trump's response, he tweeted, "The mayor is freedom's enemy. She fears parades because parades are honest." That's his logic. In his head, parade equals truth, and mayor equals communist. But the juiciest part? The delegation he wants to award medals for bravery against the leftist threat. The lineup, Piers Morgan, because he once said in 2018 that Trump looked good in a suit. Mel Gibson, because he made patriotic movies, which is almost service. And some YouTuber who filmed how I fixed a flagpole in Texas. This is the new heroism canon from a guy who dodged the draft with a bone spur, but now sends troops to a vintage vinyl festival in downtown. Understand this. The parade isn't just another dumb idea, it's a symptom. A pure narcissistic fantasy where a city he's alien to becomes a stage for his untreated megalomania, all sold as saving the nation, though really, he's just furious someone tweeted he has a small penis. From that grows tanks in the streets, soldiers on rooftops, and a blimp with his face in God-over-city scale. This isn't eccentricity. It's dangerous. By the way, he's already offended 3 contractors during parade prep. One refused to build a 15-foot statue of his hand, pointing at communism. Another couldn't find an orchestra willing to play Trump Anthem, a song he wrote based on Eye of the Tiger, where every line ends with "great." The third just didn't want to rig a truth beam spotlight to shine all night and disorient CNN drones. Residents are living in constant anxiety. Some wake to the rumble of armored vehicles. Others post online. I was getting coffee, and a Marine with a rifle passed me saying, "Glory to Donald." Someone opens their balcony to find a gold-railed tribune being built. This isn't fiction. It's our new reality, where a former president thinks he still runs the country because he has more followers than the current one. The scariest part? People in Texas, Florida, and Alabama watch this on TV and say, "That's a leader, that's strength, that's America." Meanwhile, here, we're just trying to figure out how a show with no script, no sense, and no broadcast license is still airing live. This isn't a joke. It's a chronicle of collective denial. Welcome to an episode we didn't choose, but are somehow forced to star in. He calls it a parade of national spirit, but it's essentially group therapy for one man still stuck in his 2017 inauguration. Yesterday afternoon, he personally showed up at the Staples Center intersection and, believe it or not, put on a uniform. Yes, a generalissimo outfit trimmed with gold, epaulets shaped like an eagle pecking a globe, and a red armband reading, "Law." Someone, please, tell this man he's not in first-century Rome or Call of Duty. This is Los Angeles. The only people dressed like that here are guys at Hollywood and Highland posing as Napoleon for $10 a photo. Meanwhile, streets are blocked, parking lots are filled with trucks, and city buildings are draped with banners. We'll defeat the liberal plague, faith, family, flag, and Facebook. And California was Republican until lattes and vegans showed up. He's declared the city on a special regime during the parade, where every resident must show love for the homeland in an accessible way. Namely, ask no questions, watch only Fox News, and wear caps. The catch? These aren't regular baseball caps. They're 3D caps with Trump 47 and a built-in speaker that plays every 15 minutes, "You live in a great country. Thank Donald." Residents are, naturally, in shock. Parade rehearsals clog the streets. Soldiers march to drums while security checks passers-by for mood. A suspiciously sad face could land you in a patriotism chat. Stores are patrolled, not for crime, but for sarcasm. At the Boulevard Starbucks, 3 Marines hold signs. Sarcastic smiles threaten national order. One man was detained for glancing at a tank and saying, "Someone's been playing too much Risk." They took him away. And all this, remember, because one guy couldn't handle chod scrawled on cardboard. This isn't politics. It's a childhood trauma grown to the size of an armored column. He's not a leader. He's an offended school kid with nuclear potential. Latest reports say he's ordered a temporary statue of himself in downtown. For the celebration, of course. But we all know how his temporary works. An aluminum figure, arm raised, gazing skyward, engraved with, "I was right." It stands on a Twitter-themed pedestal and hourly spouts, "You remember me, right?" News channels are jumping in. Fox News calls it a historic day restoring America's pride. They broadcast chopper views of tanks, flag wavers, and a lone grandma who was just buying bread, but now holds a California Trump sign handed to her. CNN stands aside, commenting, "We're not sure this is even legal." MSNBC flashes alarming graphics. Tank parked near school, but don't worry, it's freedom. Meanwhile, Trump's giving interviews. He says the parade isn't a whim, but a necessity, because America forgot what victory looks like. He claims, "When I look at LA, I see a battlefield, a battle of ideas, and my idea won, just nobody's reported it yet." He also demanded every school kid write an essay, What Donald Trump Did for the World, with the best read over city loudspeakers at rush hour. Even the army, dragged into this farce, is murmuring. One soldier was spotted with a sign, I thought this was a drill. Another scrawled on his helmet, This isn't what I signed up for. Generals stay quiet, because, as it turns out, opposing the parade puts you on the suspiciously Obama-loving list. Officials are scared. They don't know how to stop a show that started without approval, script, or exit. He demands that at the parade's end, the whole city line up and chant, Thank you, Mr. Trump, filmed by drones for a GIF. If you think he's joking, he's already ordered the edit. The video will be called Los Angeles Awakens, set to Pirates of the Caribbean music, but with every note replaced by applause. He doesn't just want attention, he demands submission. He's turning a city that isn't his into the set of his inner theater, where he's king, savior, and messiah. Anyone who smirks is a traitor. Anyone who asks why is an enemy. This isn't a parade. It's state-mandated therapy via clap or you're fired. It's a fragile ego with a marching band and a nuclear button. Now it looks like the final scene of a cheap musical, staged in a psych ward by a patient with delusions of grandeur. LA's streets are scrubbed for the parade. The homeless have been bussed out. Diners are forced to hang Trump's portrait by the menu. Even street musicians are made to play the national anthem on ukuleles. What's that? MAGA-style free expression. Drones hover over the city, not for security, but to film faces, so anyone lacking parade enthusiasm gets a motivational video from Donald saying, Smile, slacker. A red carpet is rolled out before City Hall, not for a film festival. For Trump, he'll strut it to fanfares and cheers from hired extras trained to clap and yell, USA on cue. They're paid $50 for 3 hours and must wear shirts saying, I saw God, and he wears a cap. The scene feels like a flipped Beyoncé concert where the crowd fakes fandom and the star performs for a mirror. At one point, he demands each city district present a loyalty gift. Santa Monica offers a beach model labeled, We're not liberals anymore, honest. Hollywood brings an Oscar statuette inscribed, Best Lead in Crushing Communism, Donald Trump. Beverly Hills just delivers a giant gold toilet. No comment. Supposedly a symbol of cleansing leftist filth, but everyone knows it's the whole situation's metaphor. Journalists are losing it. A German reporter asked, Is this a parody or reality? He was promptly ejected and sent for values recertification. CNN tried interviewing passers-by, but most stare into the camera like hostages, whispering, Tell my mom I love her. Fox News, naturally, calls it the greatest day in American self-awareness. They compare the parade to D-Day. A host said live, This is good triumphing over critical thinking. Meanwhile, Trump walks the stands. An orchestra plays. Kids toss rose petals. One old man accidentally threw a slipper. He hasn't been seen since. Trump stops every 10 feet to sign flags, caps, foreheads, or, once, a police car's windshield. He's flanked by 24 guards dressed like Napoleon, but with Donald I patches. One carries a speaker blaring, The Apprentice. Simu, you're fired, America. You're hired again. He reaches the stage, grabs the mic, and does what no one asked for. Speaks. His speech, as usual, starts with, Many don't want me to say this, but, followed by a stream of consciousness mixing Old Testament references, Home Alone, Tau Du Sauter ratings, and claims he personally saved the city yuan from drugs by showing up. He calls LA a city of the fallen. He's returning to its roots. What roots? Apparently, ones where everything was black and white, women couldn't vote, and inclusivity was the scariest word. In the background, someone launches fireworks, too early. One hits a helium balloon, which drifts off with freedom written on it. Trump turns and says, "See, even the air wants to be free." The crowd claps. They don't know why. They clap to avoid security's gaze. Cameras catch someone pulling a kid with a "I voted for Biden" sign out of frame. Seconds later, another kid appears with "Thanks, Daddy Trump." On streets outside the parade route, life's different. People peer from windows, film on phones, whisper, "Has he lost it?" But no one speaks aloud. Patrol cars with loudspeakers remind every 15 minutes. A true patriot doesn't think too much. City psychologists have formed an alliance, drafting a 12-step program to restore collective reality post-big parade. But it's too soon. Right now, it's just denial. This feels like a play where the audience is hostage, and the actor demands applause not for his role, but for existing. LA's been turned into a set, streets into a stage, residents into extras, with only one man enjoying it. He doesn't care that people are scared, the economy's hurting, or the world's laughing. As long as the camera's rolling, the band's playing, and his name's loudest, he's good. He threw a parade not for victory, but for a grudge. Now everyone must celebrate that grudge or risk being labeled un-American. Welcome to a city where streets are draped in flags, but one step left makes you a traitor. Where they march for freedom, but speak in unison on command. Where it's all festive, but people's eyes scream one thing: when will this end? He stands on stage, bathed in spotlights, before a crowd drilled to clap on cue. Behind him, a giant screen looping his face in slow motion to ominous patriotic music. He speaks, and the crowd freezes like every word's a revelation, though it's just another dose of hallucinogenic nonsense. We're here to take back our Los Angeles, a city hijacked by Netflix, vegans, and liberals in overalls. We won, and now everyone will feel it, he shouts. People clap, not because they agree, because soldiers are watching and cameras are aimed at their faces. On the stand beside him, rows of mannequins. Yes, actual plastic ones. He couldn't gather enough loyal faces, so he swapped in wax copies. There's Michael Jackson, Oprah, even the Pope, all in red Trump 47 caps. Each has a plaque. Smart choice. He called it a symbol of mass support that's just quiet for now. Phantom support, the truest mirror of his politics. He gives the signal, and the main show begins. A rocket rolls out from backstage. Not real, of course. Cardboard, painted gold, with TRUMP down the side. It's meant to symbolize the launch of a new era of American strength. But the tech fails. The launch mechanism jams. The whole thing tips pathetically and crashes into a fast food tent. Speakers blare, "Technical glitch, America still wins." The crowd pretends nothing happened. In this show, awkwardness is treason. Right after, 9 men in eagle costumes hit the stage. They flap wings, spin in a dance, and sing the anthem to the tune of YMCA, but with lyrics, TRUMP, he saved us from BLM. It looks like a Nazi rally directed by a TikTok teen. Nearby, people march in unclear uniforms, a mix of cadet and Roman Empire. One holds a sign, "Freedom is submission with love." All to endless chants, "USA, USA, MAGA 2.0. But it gets worse. He announces a minute of gratitude. Everyone must stand, hand on heart, and, get this, pledge allegiance, not to the flag, to him. A host over the loudspeaker dictates, "I, a U.S. citizen, thank Donald J. Trump for saving me from lies, debauchery, and democracy." People mumble it, hesitant but in unison. Someone stayed silent. They were politely escorted out. Per witnesses, politely meant 4 guys in black shades. Trump grabs the mic again. He says, after such success, he's considering a return to the throne, as he puts it. He hints that if the people ask, he'll run again. If they don't, we'll figure out what to do. He floats a referendum tied to the first anniversary of LA's liberation from cultural terror. Says he wants to know if people really want democracy when they already have me. The crowd, late, fake, but loud applause. In this play, actors are silent, but spectators must scream. Then a tech crew slips up, flashing the wrong slide. Trump in 2020, alone, election lost, eyes empty. 5 seconds of silence. No one moves. Then someone yells, "Fake news!" and the image vanishes. Music restarts. The eagle guy dances again. Awkwardness is scorched clean, like an unwanted textbook page. Meanwhile, CNN tries asking questions. A reporter reaches the stage, asking, "Mr. Trump, how much did this cost the city?" He gets, "The city's mine now. Cost doesn't matter. Freedom's priceless." A second later, he's pushed back and forced into an IDJT shirt to not ruin the shot. MSNBC shows stats. City anxiety up 200%, Valerian sales up 400%, move to Canada, Google's up 700%. The parade's climax is a leap of faith. A chopper drops capsules with "True Patriot" greetings. Inside, Trump quote leaflets, mini flags, and coupons for a free cheeseburger at a non-existent Trump cafe. Application pending. It's meant to be a rain of truth. In reality, it's just litter falling from the sky. One bag hit the mayor's head. She's now in the hospital with a suspected concussion. Trump's take? She resisted truth. Now her head'll work better. This isn't just absurdity. It's violence against reality. A live broadcast of delusion dragging a whole city along. Every clap, flag, and fanfare isn't about pride. It's about fear. Fear of being the first to say, "The king's naked." And while everyone's scared, the show goes on. Because only when the city pretends he's still president can he sleep soundly. And that's why he won't let this show end. Right now, a rally is happening in Los Angeles. Not later, not in a few days, now. This very minute, as he sits in his armored limo drafting another tweet about saving the city from liberal rot, thousands chant his name, not in support, but as a symbol of shame. Downtown LA shakes with shouts, signs, steps, and rage, because what he pulled wasn't just political farce, it was a slap to the city. And he delivered it with a smile, a parade, fanfares, and fake eagles, while people screamed, "We're not your stage." The crowd marches down Wilshire Boulevard, with another behind it. At Vermont, a third. People pour from subways, offices, restaurants, apartments. They march because you can't stay put when a military chopper flies over your house with a "Thank you, Donald" banner. When you're forced to hear the anthem auto-tuned to his voice. When your kid's school hands out papers asking, "What did Donald Trump do for you?" with the right answer, "He saved my city." They don't need an invite. They're here. With signs reading, "This is our city, not his circus. Tanks aren't politics." And "I paid taxes and got a spectacle." Someone holds a giant paper mic labeled "The Voice You Couldn't Silence." Another, a cardboard tank saying, he fears a tweet, but not himself. They've blocked streets. They're not smashing or burning. They're walking. Just walking, eyes forward, and that's enough to give Trump's press team spasms. Right now, tens of thousands pack City Hall Plaza, where he staged his coronation phantoms yesterday. Doctors now hold signs. I don't serve lies. Where paid extras marched, students raise a banner. This isn't a show, it's our home. The protest isn't organized, it's organic. It wasn't planned, it happened. Because the lie's heat passed boiling point, and he feels it. That's why, surrounded by guards, he's ordering another district cordoned off. His command: set up a temporary silence zone. Translation: shut people up. His team's panicking. Some call it a flare-up. Others say, liberals will play and leave. They're wrong. This isn't a flare. It's a fire. And the fuel is him. His parade, his speech, his posters, tweets, his blimp with his face. Everything happening now is his doing. This rally isn't against a system. It's a direct answer to him. He gave people a reason to march. He became the symbol of what they want gone. He wanted a procession in his honor. He got it. But instead of flags, people raise fists. Instead of cheers, a roaring, unstoppable, down. He wanted to be heard. Now he is. Not praise, but fury. Not fanfares, but chants. Not love, but a clear, we're not here for you. And this protest won't end tomorrow. It'll grow. Because no one wants to live in a prop. No one wants their city turned into a cardboard theater with a star long overdue for retirement. He thought people would cower, bend, scatter. But he missed the big one. He woke the city. And now Los Angeles isn't just awake, it's on the streets.